You hear that? That's the sound of pork, but not the kind that goes good with eggs and pancakes. No, the kind that just jacks up the national debt. Now, it's not shocking that Congress spends money on frivolous projects. They enjoy that almost as much as hanging out on Epstein Island. But the shocking part is who the pork is coming from these days. Check out the analysis that came from Open Secrets. The House Freedom Caucus racked up nearly $1 billion in pork for their districts. This $957 million was spread across 210 earmarks in omnibus spending bills in 2023 and 2024. That's right. In less than 2 years, conservatives blew through $1 billion for poppycock projects. The Freedom Caucus formed in 2015 around 4 principles. One of those was, and I quote, to institute a ban on earmarks. And it's not just a few people, it's nearly half of the Freedom Caucus. 22 out of 49 members have spent $1 billion on pork. But wait, there's more. Those Freedom Caucus earmarks cost taxpayers $4.6 million each. And that cost is more than double the average for all other members of Congress. But it gets worse. Remember the Squad, that brand of 4 progressive lawmakers? Well, they earmarked less pork than the Freedom Caucus. Crazy, but true. This year, Squad members have each spent around $13.9 million each. 22 members of the Freedom Caucus spent more than double that, blowing through more than $23 million apiece. Let's look at it another way. The Squad spent more than $111 million this year. The Freedom Caucus spent more than $500 million this year. And the year isn't even half over. And it's not just a one-off. The Freedom Caucus spent nearly $450 million in 2023. Now, this will really blow your socks off. Former Freedom Caucus member Representative Randy Weber pulled in more than $430 million in pork all by himself since 2023. Now, he was kicked out of the caucus, but that was only because he missed too many meetings, not because he was spending too much. Maybe he can go reminisce with the other caucus reject, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was kicked out for allegedly gossiping about her colleagues, not because she spent more than $9 million in pork, though. So who are these 22 members of the Freedom Caucus who spend as much money as Joe Biden sniffs hair? The full list is in the description, but here are some of my favorites so far. We have handjob hussy Lauren Boebert with more than $20 million, Nepo baby Matt Gaetz with more than $50 million, Robot Man Speaker Mike Johnson spent $61 million last year, and then another $7 million so far this year. MAGA grifter and alleged girlfriend beater Max Miller spent more than $17 million. But those are just the common household names in politics. Let's not forget the other big spenders like Ben Klein at $42 million, Andy Harris at $39 million, and Clay Higgins at $36 million. Now let me give you the rundown on what some of that billion-dollar pork from conservatives was spent on. $190,000 went to test electric and magnetic shark repellent. $500,000 went for an elevator at the birthplace of Country Music Museum. Another $500,000 for equipment at Roanoke College that includes a synthetic cadaver. $1.75 million for the Rural Mental Health Coalition at Texas A&M. Now, no actual mental health care is funded. It's just a brainstorming project. $2.5 million for a coastal conservation hub where Floridians can find answers to their coastal restoration questions. $5 million for a Naples, Florida sewer to septic project in its second phase. $20 million for an upgrade of Baltimore Avenue in Ocean City, Maryland. $3.3 million to Louisiana State for their STEM Innovation Center. $2.1 million for Texas A&M University Foundation for an education training facility. Fun little side note here, Representative Ronnie Jackson secured this piece of pork, and his son is a sophomore at the college. I bet it's hard for him to get good grades. Now, I'm not saying pork is only coming from conservatives and the House Freedom Caucus. Since 2023, Congress as a whole has spent $32 billion on earmarks. The thing is, though, Democrats are proud of their spending. They don't hide it. The conservative lawmakers are saying one thing and then doing another. They're hoodwinking voters, lying, speaking with forked tongue, holding a double standard, being hypocrites. Whatever you want to call it, that's what they're doing. The problem? Maybe Republican and conservative voters need to not reelect some of these people. Sometimes you got to lose a battle to win the war. If you keep thinking, oh, I have to vote for them or a Democrat will win, you're just letting yourself be trapped in their game. The first step is that conservatives need to acknowledge that their representatives are trash and they are liars. Then they have to face the music and recognize what's happening. Their game is very simple. They trap you into voting for them. They only get your vote because they aren't as bad as the other guy in spending. These clowns will never change. The party will never demand accountability until the voter does. Philosopher Nietzsche used a term back in the day that is apropos to this discussion. It's ressentiment. Quoting the Oxford reference, it's, quote, the desire to live in a pious existence and thereby position oneself to judge others, apportion blame, and determine responsibility. Essentially, you're defining yourself by what you're not. You're justifying what you do while denying others the ability to do the same thing. In plain English, you're being a jerk. Republicans out there may say, well, I'm not some big government Democrat that spends money on pork. No, I'm a conservative. But you can pass judgment and blame and feel that you're better because you're not one of them on the other side, but you're acting just like them. You're enabling this frivolous spending of money. You're enabling the same platform the Democrats are when it just comes to blowing money right through and making our debt bigger and bigger. Things won't change until politicians lose elections. The base needs to abandon politicians who are lying to them. Take a page out of the Progressives' handbook. Be one of those non-committed voters. It's a primary, and they're scaring the hell out of Biden. And they should. He's not representing them. So voters are putting him on notice. The next time you cast a ballot or retweet someone like Boebert or Gates or Marjorie Taylor Greene and think you're really sticking it to the establishment, remember, they are the establishment now. If you would like more on this topic, then check out the link in the description box to my TikTok channel. That's where I'll be sharing more information on the Freedom Caucus and what their members are spending on pork. Thanks for listening to Overnight Opinions. Be sure to tune in next Sunday night for an all-new episode. Until then, catch up on interviews I've conducted with presidential candidates, from the Libertarian Party's Michael Rectenwald and Chase Oliver to the Green Party's Dr. Jill Stein. Be sure to follow the Ladies Love Politics channel on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, True Social, Twitter, Brighteon, BitChute, and Brighteon Social.